Zaya was Obuefi's second daughter. She was his favorite child because she is empathetic. She knows when anyone in the family is sober, sick, or happy. She loves to give help, whether you ask for it or not. On the 23rd of December, the father became sick and died. Night has come in daytime. Who will call me Oyeri Naya? She wept. With 7 kids, things became difficult for Zaya's mom, and she was forced to reach out to her siblings for help. It was decided that Zaya, her elder sister, and immediate younger ones were to be split amongst the mom's other relatives. Zaya was meant to be put into school to complete her secondary education. Instead, she was taken to someone else's house to become an house help. Well, she grew to become a very beautiful girl. The madam's husband began to desire her, which made the madam to send her back to her relatives. At her aunt's house, suitors began to come to seek for her hand in marriage. But she chose annulled because prophecies from the church and from a madman had said that her husband will come from the overseas country to marry her. After the traditional marriage, Arnold left her in the care of his brother and wife at Onitsha and traveled back to Germany, where he resides. At first, it was all rosy until the brother's wife became a thorn in her flesh. The money meant for her upkeep never reached her. Always the last to read or hear the news about her husband's well-being. So she decided to write to her husband on this matter. 2 months after, the postman came with the reply. News about your disgraceful attitude has reached me. I would have sent you back if your father were to be alive. But sending you to your poverty-stricken mother and relatives will not yield much results. My judgment is that you will go and live with my mother in the village until I return in December. Zaya wept till she had no tears left in her eyes. But then she packed her things as instructed and headed to her husband's village. Life in the village was not Okwachinakaba. It was very difficult. In fact, it could be said that the husband practically abandoned her. The mother-in-law turned her into an adult slave. All she does was work, work and work, with little or no food to eat at the end of the day. The once beautiful Zaya was malnourished, unkept, looking older than herself. With no money to purchase the necessary example pad, soap, etc., Zaya resorted to doing all kinds of menial jobs for more people just to raise money to sustain herself and plan her return to her people. Fortune smiled on her and she raised the required money needed for her journey back home. She called her mother-in-law and told her of her plans to go and visit her mother, since it's been a long time since she saw her and her siblings last. The mother-in-law began to abuse her, visited homes after homes to lay accusations on her fidelity. Zaya refused to back down. Her mind was already made up. This is no marriage, she had said to herself. As she set to leave the compound, all the women her mother-in-law gathered came with a broom. As she walked, they swept her footprints off the ground. Zaya was bittered but refused to cry. She has cried enough. She turned and took a handful of sand and cursed the ground. She turned and never looked back. 1 year later, Zaya became a very successful businesswoman. Arnold was gunned down by his foreign partner who caught him cheating. His family back home were excommunicated by the villagers. The mother-in-law could no more bear the shame. She became very sick and eventually died. Not long, Zaya met Kingsley and they got married. He saw the passion for education and enrolled her into school. Each step she took, she came out tops. Finally, her dreams came true when she was called to bar.